Welcome back to another edition of the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45. We got Bobby Shakes in the building. Man, Shakes is
Hello.
what's going on, man? You're standing.
Yeah, I'm all right. Take off my slippers for Jorge Martin. You get a little box around, eh?
I think he got more than a little box around. I think it was a lot of boxing going on. I don't know, man. I think Jorge Martin, I don't know how much of a fan of Ducati he still is.
Well, I've been calling it all season, right, mate? Been calling it all season.
Well, it sounds like
Where's
it.
my Ducati red? Right there. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a little red there.
I see that.
All right. Everything's red.
I take it you're happy that Marquez is on.
Where's the thing?
Huh?
Here's the thing I told you, right? We have 2 years left. That's it. Then everything's going to be up in the air. So within these 2 years, you have to give the man his props. You let him ride out. All he's got left in his career is 2 years anyway, right? There's a lot of young riders out. Maybe Martin will definitely get the seat back in 2027 when they go to an 850cc. So this is just a little semantics.
Well,
Semantics. That's all.
Let me ask you. If you're Martin and Ducati comes knocking in 2 years, you going?
The money's right. The money is right. And the money's always got to be right. I said it's got to be right. If the money's right, he's off. Who knows? Marquez might go back to Repsol.
I'm just saying is the motorcycle racing community usually holds a grudge when, a team has, rubbed you the wrong way.
Right, but look at the standings right now. If you look at everything,
it's too early.
First on the bike is in third place. Martin just doesn't have what it takes to be in the factory seat. And I'm not talking about riding. I'm just talking about marketing. I'm talking about presence. I'm talking about the whole shebang, right? It's kind of like Lewis Hamilton, right? Different sport, but Lewis Hamilton's got all the cool outfits, the great air, can't win shit, right? But
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, he hasn't won anything about 3 years.
Well, neither is anyone else.
Well, I mean, Verstappen has.
Well,
but
obviously there can only be one winner, so.
Right. What? So that's what it takes. And I think with him going to the Aprilia, that will give him time to it may give him a little edge, right? It may give him an edge. He may come back with an edge. He may come back with a vengeance. He may come back with a little bad boy image to stick it to the old Ducati. But, this might be a good thing. It might be a good thing.
For Martin.
Right. It might be a good thing. Now, Aprilia, what have Aprilia won in the last 10 years? You tell me what's Aprilia won.
I don't know.
Nothing. So now we have...
They won a couple of races for sure,
right?
But for the most part, they have not had a present. But neither is KTM. To throw them out there, right? And Ducati's just starting to get the love since Casey Stoner days, right? So
right. So I would say Dovizioso if that was me, but that's differently. But now what we have here now is we have the Italians in a civil war, right? We have Aprilia. We have Ducati. We have a huge civil war right now. And what's going to happen is you're going to put Martins in the Aprilia seat. He's going to come back with a bad boy attitude, and he's going to make that bike successful. So now it's going to be, be prepared. This is almost like Lamborghini Ferrari all over again.
Well, it might be. I don't know if Jorge Martin, like you say, have it in him to do that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Bastianini might, but I don't know about Jorge because, again, I think as you talk about that thing that he needs to have that Marquez has and Lewis Hamilton has, we're trying to see if Martin has that. And it's not necessarily, calm under pressure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to the next level, right? Because when you're at that level, you're already calm under pressure. But there's a difference. And Martinez had a very good year and a half, 2 years of riding, and not to say even though he hasn't won a world title, and last year he was runner up, I don't believe he's going to win it this year because they're already starting to chase down the points. So yeah, I hope that maybe this is what he needs, the foot up the backside or the slipper that he might need to push him over, right? To push him over to that instinct that he needs to be. And we've seen it in basketball and we've seen it in other sports where, when it comes down to it, and again, not to take anything away from him, but you're right. He's not showing that and it's even when you're losing, right? Because you can see how when Rossi lose in the past and even some of these guys, the way they handle it and the way he handles it, it's kind of almost like he needs to go flip a couple of tables over and kind of
Right.
and come back, versus kind of like, I know what I did wrong, I'm gonna fix it for the next time.
Right. What a lot of people don't understand is with anything, right? It's 95% gimmicks, 5% actual talent. Everything's a fucking gimmick, right? There's nothing really that's substantial anymore, right? Back in the day, you had talent. Now you don't have any talent. It's all gimmicks, right? And because the world's getting so smaller now, right? With Instagram and social media, with the world so tiny right now. Like before, God knows in 1970, if Ducati's racing in fucking Mugello, who the fuck even knows what that's even going on? But now the world has gotten really small. And with a world this small, that means we have access to sell more bikes, sell more merchandise, sell more stickers and fanfare. So we need somebody that has that appeal to pull people into the sport. Because remember, we got to pull people into the sport, right? It's not all about talent. Talent is great, right? Think about it, right? It would be great if you had every guy on the grid was a pecker, right? If every guy was amazing, right? People would watch. But let's say you had people that are terrible, but they're all wearing clown heads on. People would tune into the sport, right? You need. There's a lot. You need gimmicks. You need riders. You need talent. It's bullshit. Like right. I like Martins. He's a good chap. He's not goofy. He's spot on. He's talented and he's focused. Right. You saw Marquez after second place. I mean, come on, lad. What was that?
It's over.
Right.
It's like David Radigan before the song drop.
Right. I mean, come on, Marquez. But the fans loved it. Spain loved it, and so it is.
All right. So, do you think that the Honda riders or the Honda folks that bought Hondas because of Marquez? Do you think you can sway those Honda riders to now buy Ducatis?
First, we have to get them a new job, right?
You get them a new job, and then
we're talking. What's it? Hold on a second there. Hold on. Let me go on Honda's website, see how much it is for one of those things there.
So in other words, it's not a matter if the Honda rider would buy a Ducati. It's the matter if the Honda rider could afford to buy a Ducati. Because if he could, he would. Or
it's Honda motorcycles. I can't even. Jesus Christ, you can't even find them on the internet.
Well, that might be a sign. You might have to ask CV or one of them.
Right. All I see, like typing on, the first thing that comes up is Civic.
But you have a point there. Yes. I mean, I think Ducati is trying to do something to that to bring down the value of the bikes to where that more people can buy it. But, I was talking to someone earlier, diehard Honda rider, from 20 years Honda rider. It hasn't even thought about jumping on another bike, not the manufacturer or anything like that. Even though Mark Marquez left Honda, he still die hard to stick with the Honda. So there may
Right.
be some Honda riders that are that might not go over to the other side.
Let me see. Let me go to Ducati right now. Let's see here. Because this is crazy.
But I do believe that, yeah, I think it does come down to, as the more I think about it, Ducati, I believe they probably sell more merch, more bikes with Marc Marquez than they would with Jorge Martin and a Bastianini, because Marc Marquez is the LeBron James of the
Right.
motorcycle racing right now.
So I just went on Ducati's website, right? The Panigale V2 coming in at 22,000. Oh, blimey. The CBR 1000 Double R Fireblade is 28,000.
Right.
But the CBR 1000 is 16 grand, right? 17 grand.
Right.
So Ducati has put itself in an unreachable platform when we talk about Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Honda.
Okay.
Right? So Ducati really needs some fanfare to let me say, all right, I'm going to go and drop some money because, and then the maintenance and everything else that comes with the brand. That not too many shops around, as you know, as an owner,
Right.
You have to drive far. And so when you start to think about all these dynamics play a huge role into what the teams are going to do, what the sport's going to do, because you want everybody to ride on Ducati, absolutely. So like you said, they may come with a cheaper brand to compete, but we all know when we're driving on the street, what you see? Jixas, right? Jixas, Kawasaki's, that's what you see. Cheap bikes. So Honda now has to make a push. Suzuki has to make a push. Kawasaki may get involved again, right? KTM, Aprilia. So this is going to be great. Like we said before on the show, there is more riders than actual factories. So we'll see.
We shall see. We shall see. So that leaves Bastianini. Some may say he may go to KTM.
There's more riders than factories.
So he's safe. He's safe.
This is your chance. This is your chance to build your brand. Once Bastianini, if he goes to KTM, he's the big fish over there, right? So now we start talking signature bike. We start talking signature clothing line. We start talking signature. If you look at Martin's signature over at Aprilia. I think, sorry to cut you.
No, it might be a little tough with whoever is at KTM because you got Pedro Acosta over there, and they just bumped him up to a factory seat. So their KTM is praying that he's what is he? Who's the new person coming up out of NBA? I don't know, John Moran or one of these guys because they're definitely banking their money on him, and he seems to have the potential to be the front runner. So, and I think it may be hard for whoever is at KTM, especially if the look, when you got somebody like a Pedro, like a Marc Marquez, it's really hard to have a fair paddock across the board between the teams. Right, because the media is going to be crowding Marc Marquez, Pedro. The attention is going to just be there just because of who they are. So you're going to be sitting on the other side, either not paying attention or maybe having a little bit of animosity because you're not getting the same opportunities, same media coverage, the same love from team owners and stuff like that. Because again, when you see how they're treating Pedro, and then you look at Brad Bender, Jack Miller, and these other guys on KTM, even you can see the difference in how the owners are treating each rider just by their energy.
Right. That's why you have to get out in front. That's why it's good for you riders, all you young kids that's watching this show now. You have to get out in front. You have to demand your respect. And sometimes you don't have to ride for the fastest bike on the grid. You have to ride with a company that loves you, where you can start to. Because remember, like we said, the world is small.
Right.
The world is small. So how could we sell bikes? How could we sell T-shirts, hats, and all the other nonsense that comes with it?
Right. So as a young rider, you got to go with the what you're suggesting is go with the brand that's going to invest and show you more loyalty, I suspect.
Right, like switching sports, but it's the same thing with the F1, right? At one point, Hamilton was the beauty. Now all of a sudden, it's the young guy. Verstappen was the beauty. Now it's another guy. It's Martin the beauty. Now all of a sudden he's kicked to the curb, and now it's Marquez is getting the factory seat. So we have to understand that we love to race, we love the sport, we love everything with it, but it's a business, folks.
Gotcha.
It's a business.
Now, coming back into motorcycle racing, as far as from a fan perspective and following along, what do you think so far? Is this must-see TV? Is the best yet to come? You know, how does it rank so far as being, to quote the Gladiator, are you not entertained?
The last race was a yawn, right? We saw its binders take off, and who else had a great take? Was it Pecco that had a good takeoff too?
Pecco had a good takeoff.
That was the best, right? Besides that, it was a yawn. But we had all the excitement before, and now we're going into vacation where we want everybody. Maybe somebody don't want to show their stuff, right? So maybe everybody's just going into vacation. I don't want to show the pair of tits that I have. I'm going to wait, and then hopefully, when we go back to the second half of the season, it picks up a little bit. But the last race was a yawn.
Right. You think people
that was a yawn.
So what do you are you suggesting some of the riders knew that they're already on vacation before Sunday was over?
Yeah, a lot of them was on. It's disappointing because the point standings are so tight. It's not like there's a huge disparity. The points is very tight. The racing is very tight. I was open for a little bit more to bring me into to the 3-week break, but I mean, it was a yawn. It was a yawn.
I know what you mean. It was, the last 3 laps was probably the most exciting part.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, when you watch baseball and you say I'll say baseball is boring, and somebody will say, because nothing is really happening, but somebody will say, if it's a good baseball game, it's going to be boring. Because right, and it's all in that and when you say that about the past race, it's good racing. That's why it was boring, because Pecco was able to manage the time, and because he could manage the time, you'd have to literally crash to try to catch him or wear your tire out, which so that made when it's that skilled, it does make it boring to watch. Granted, Marquez was there, and if he had more time, he probably would have been able to do something. But I think where Pecco's at right now with his math, like they got it all figured out. They know how many laps. They know how long the tire is gonna last. They know like when because it always seems like the other riders that are coming through, the other rider, Marquez coming through in the last 4 races, including the 2 sprints from 2 different rounds, he still didn't have enough time.
So let me ask you a question. Who's the Michael Jordan of the sport? Would you call it Pecco?
No. The Michael Jordan of this is Valentino Rossi.
Rough.
And so that's why I would say Marquez is more like a Kobe Bryant, maybe a LeBron James, give or take. I would probably say Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant got more rings.
Who are we going to pass the torch to, right? That was probably what I meant to say. Who are we passing the torch to? I have to say Pecco, right?
No, I'd probably say Pedro.
You say Pedro.
Right, because, depends how you look at it. Because when Michael Jordan came into the league, he might not have had a title, but he was dominant. When Kobe came into the league, he didn't get burned, but he had the skill set because once he got the burn, he got the time. We saw what he can do. You know what I'm saying? And clutch. Kobe was clutch. Martin is clutch.
Right.
Pecco, Pecco, I would probably say he's more like a Steph Curry, right? In a sense,
Wow.
if you want to put it that way, not
Right.
not that that's a diss. You know what I'm saying? But Curry came into the league. He wasn't the Steph Curry he grew into. When Pecco came
Right.
into the Pecco's been on Ducati for 6 years,
Right.
right? And he's only won 2 titles in the last couple of years, maybe his 3rd title, right? So he had 3 to 4 years where it was a struggle. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how long Steph was in the game before he started shooting and lighting it up, but he wasn't doing that from day one. So
Right.
that's why I say he's more like that, where Pedro is coming to came into MotoGP. Well, first of all, he was a sensation like LeBron James as far as in high school. If you want to look at Moto 2 and Moto 3, he was a sensation. So he was already a sensation from early on and been talked about from early on. You know what I'm saying? It's not like nobody knew who he was. It's not like it's a Giannis or one of these other guys that, we didn't know they were going to turn into what they turned into. They were kind of quiet for the most part. So that's what I'm saying when I say it like that, which is still a huge respect for Pecco. But for Pedro, the dude he's 7 races in and he's been on a podium, I believe, at least 3 times. I think he's either gotten pole or close to getting pole. He's finishing in the top 5. He's not scared he's not scared of any other rider.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he's riding, as a rookie, he's riding a bike better than the seasoned guys on them same bikes.
Was that a little shot there? That sounded like a little shot that you were sending out there.
What's that? I mean,
it's a little sneaky shot there.
I'm just letting you know what makes Pedro. Why call out Pedro versus Pecco as far as like Jordan, these guys and stuff like that, because they those guys, LeBron handled pressure from day one. I think Kobe handled pressure from day one. Michael Jordan handled pressure from day one. Not to say Pecco isn't, but as far as like he didn't come out and win from day one, and Pedro is closer to winning and stuff. And again, he's 7 races in, he already got signed to a factory seat.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't work his way up to nothing. He's like 70. That's like, I already got a factory seat. And not only that, even last year to get in the seat another rider had to sit out. They were willing to pay another rider full salary to sit out and be a backup rider for this guy to come and ride. They could have just, they could have took him in like they took Aaron Rodgers in and let him sit for a year and get better and take his time and get better and do all that. They threw him in. So, he's a different animal. And, as you know, they don't make a lot of people like that. So I say that, as far as Pedro, he's put himself in a position right now that, teams are KTM is paying attention to him. But I'm pretty sure other teams will be sitting here loving for that contract to be over to see if they can I don't know. I wouldn't say they stole Marquez away, because Marquez is, he was at a point where he was looking for a change. So where there would be other teams looking to that, and I think that's why KTM signed him early as well, so that way Aprilia or Ducati on these other teams don't snatch him up. You know what I'm saying? So so yeah, it is must see TV to me right now. It is very entertaining. Granted, this last round, it was boring because the riding was really good. You know what I mean? And fewer people made mistakes. So that part, that made it kind of like, we were looking, because the last few rounds we've been seeing so much excitement. And
we'll see, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so that's, and that's going to happen. You know what I mean? And I think as the season goes on, you're seeing that there's only really like 4 to 5 riders that are standing out. And at the beginning of the season, I thought it would have been closer to 10 riders,
Right. So like you're saying, you're right. Now we're heading to the stage where we're getting close to the championship. Let's manage data. Let's manage everything and try and get across instead of doing anything risky. But I would expect I guess everybody's just managing the data right now, and that's why the last one was a yawn. We'll see what happens the next one. Maybe there'll be more aggressiveness. I want more aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the Martins, Pecco, Marquez, these guys seem to be on another level.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to catch those three, I think you have to ride on the edge, and that's it.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I we'll see what happens. You know, I don't want to make any predictions because clearly I was wrong about the Marquez not going to Ducati and stuff like that. But I will say that when Assen, the next round is Assen. Yes, the next round is Assen, and if riders, even though there's still a lot of rounds left,
loads of riding left, loads,
but they're running out of opportunities to seize that moment. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm talking about, not Mark Marquez, not Pecco, not Martin, not Bastianini, right? Those four guys, because they're in the top four in the championship. But from 5 all the way down, these guys got to start being more consistent and being more consistent up front, because even though there's still 7 rounds, so you probably got like 13 rounds left or something like that, give or take 13, 14 rounds left. Those guys up front, it doesn't sound like they're going to be missing too much of a beat. You know, they may be bad on a Saturday, but great on a Sunday, or good on a Saturday, and they may struggle on a Sunday. But right now, those guys are hovering around or been on the podium, or crashed out or been on the podium, essentially.
Right, because and it looks like the only one that's really, 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 I think that's going to really make that push might be Marquez. When I look at the field, it looks like Marquez is going to be the most aggressive to me. It looks like he looks like he's got something to prove.
Well,
he's got 4 guys also on the grid that's just as talented.
I think he knows that, look, I'm not even riding this bike like I should, and I'm doing this.
Right.
And he's sitting here like, I can probably steal it this year. You know what I'm saying? Because out of those 4 guys, he's the most experienced, and he's probably pound for pound the best rider out of those 4 riders. If they were all the same age, he's the best rider. Right. You know what I'm saying? He may be struggling. He's 30, so he's older than those guys, and he's still riding that older Ducati. And if that dude consistently finishes in the grid in the top 5, he's gonna win, and he's showing already that, like, unless something happens to him, physically or something like that. Knock on wood. It's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely Martin to hold on to, but I don't think between Pecco and Marquez and Bastianini, and the fact that he signed to Martin signed to Aprilia, and he has to come back in that space, and now look at all his teammates and the crew and everybody, and still give 100%. I don't know if Martin has that in him. So even though he's ahead in the championship, I don't believe in 3 rounds he's still going to be ahead in the championship. Now, he could turn around and just be completely an animal and just beat everybody, every race going forward. It's not like he doesn't have the potential to do it. It's whether he has the mindset, right? Because for some reason, it's he's starting to make mistakes. And
he's beginning to flake a little bit.
Yeah. And so
beginning to flake a little bit.
You know what I mean? And so for him, it's going to take a strong person to be able to know, like, I'm leaving this job for my competitor's job next year, and I still have to be the best version of myself. And he already has the contract. So it's like, that's not going to, his finish this year is not going to determine what happens next year for his contract. So he has to have that. He has to have some type of fire inside of him that's burning to be upset with Ducati. But then how upset can you be with Ducati to push yourself and not show it in the team?
Right. And this is what we want from our teams, right? We want that edge. We want that bad boy image. That's what we want from him. I think the two riders that have it the worst this season, Martins and Marquez. Marquez has to finish.
Yeah.
He has to win it. Right.
Yeah.
He has 2 years, he has 3 years, he has 2 years, 3 years to win. He's got to win 2. He's the most talented. He's on a 23 bike. We're running 24s. He's in 3rd place. Martins have to show a little grit and a little fire.
Right.
Marquez has to show his legendary racing. I think those two, but he's got to win. I mean, I love the factory seat for him, but 93, it's time to produce. It's time to win. Yeah. 8's not enough.
Right. No, I completely agree. I think for Ducati and Marquez has to win some titles, because if he just finishes in the top 5 or 4 or runner up, and let's say sell a whole bunch of bikes, because of him, it's going to be very hard, because like Ducati started bringing in young riders after Lorenzo, right? They started bringing in young riders. You know what I mean? Bringing in new riders. That's been the MO until Marquez. You know what I'm saying? Granted, they brought in Morbidelli, but Morbidelli is still kind of new, right? Yeah. He's younger than thing. So for them to say, okay, we're going to go away from what's been working, because it's been working for the last 4 years, we're going to go away from that and go to Marquez. It is a gamble, so we shall see. It's definitely entertaining.
All right, it's a lot at stake for those two blokes. A lot at stake. A lot. Marquez has to win.
Yeah.
And Martins have to show some grit. He's got to act like a dog. We want to see a dog from Martins, because he has the talent to do so.
Right. I completely agree. He's going to have to. Well, man, I want to thank you for coming on. We're going to keep going. I can't wait for the few weeks of summer break. I would say summer break for these guys, but they're out there training at the moment. And yes, sounds like Martin's going to have to, take his medicine.
Right. He's going to have to get a little boxing.
A little bit. My name is Rex45, with the one and only Bobby Shakes, man.
Hey, man. Good to talk to you. See you next week.
Good to talk to you.
You guys be safe out there.
No doubt. Peace.